time, yeah, making a difference, one cup at a time. Tea time, yeah. So be sure to grab your tea, grab a seat, and tune in to Miss Liz. Tea time, making a difference, one cup at a time. Tea time, yeah. Tea time, time.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you may be in this incredible, beautiful world that we call home. So, we are here with another tea time, an incredible game changer for professionals this morning. I am joined with an incredible lady from the Netherlands, Neha Lagoo. So, I'm going to do the disclaimer and then we're going to get her bio and bring her out onto the incredible stage of Miss Liz. Disclaimer for Miss Liz's Tea Times live shows. Miss Liz is going live using StreamYard. Before leaving a comment, please grant StreamYard permission to use your name at StreamYard.com. Please be advised the content brought forward for any Tea Time show hosted by myself, Miss Liz, is always brought forward in good faith, however, may bring forth dialogue and opinions that are not representative of my platform. The facts and information are perceived to be accurate at the given time of airing. All Tea Time guests and audience participants are responsible for using their good judgment in taking any action that may relate to the discussion. The content brought forward may include discussion for some that may be emotionally at risk. It is significant to know that this show is engaging in discussions forms only to offer and inspire awareness and connection, and is not providing therapeutical advice. If you have any questions about the disclaimer or the panelist discussion, you may freely contact myself, Miss Liz, through my email at bookingmissliz@gmail.com. Moving forward, should you choose to voluntarily participate in this show in any aspect, Miss Liz welcomes you. Should you decide that this show is not for you at this time, I respect that choice and I will see you in a future show. Moving forward, now I will introduce my incredible guest, but I will bring her out to the studio so you can see this beautiful lady from the beautiful lands of the Netherlands. So Neha is welcoming me in the studio. So I'm going to
Hello.
introduce. Good morning, dear. I don't even know what time it is over there. What time is it?
It is afternoon right now. It's 5 o'clock. 4 o'clock,
Oh,
sorry.
oh, it's almost dinner time there. Big time change over there. So I'm going to just introduce you a little bit with your bio, Neha, and then we will get into a good, incredible discussion and share a good cup of tea together.
Sounds
So
great.
Neha was born in Indore, India, and currently lives in Amsterdam, Netherlands, with her genius husband, a strong-willed daughter, and an extremely gullible dog. Neha no- nomadic life as a trailer spouse could have cost her career, as she knows what taking a break feels like. As she has continued her career journey across changing geographies and sectors, here we go, my tongue again. She's faced challenges and learned invaluable life lessons. If these challenges and lessons that have carried her to where she is today as a writer. When Neha is in writing, she's a talented development professional and a part-time entrepreneur. She's also been a face painter, a handwriting analyst, and a website designer and a henna artist. In her spare time, Neha enjoys playing improv and saying yes to the curveballs life throws at her. And when she has nothing to throw, she shakes things up anyway by doing something crazy. Back on Your Feet is Neha's first published book, which we will be talking about today during our tea time. We will also be talking about the book launch and all the incredible places that this lady has been to, because she has been to 8 countries and speaks 8 languages. So we will speak about a lot of things this morning and this afternoon with Neha. So Neha, if you could share with the viewers and listeners out there a little bit about what you do and who you are and how you're the game changer.
Sure. Thank you for such a lovely introduction, Liz, first of all. And yeah, about me, like you read my bio. I've done lots of random things, so there's no one particular bucket that I fall into. But in my the profession that I get paid for is of talent development, and I work with a global nonprofit, and I work as their global education relationships manager. So that's something that I do for a living. But apart from that, I've dwelled into lots of different fields. I've done face painting. I've done henna. That's the mehndi art. Then I have built websites. I've run my own blog. I've also done some theater in form of improv. Went with my team to international festivals. So there's quite a few things that I've been able to do while traveling around the world, and I feel very fortunate to be able to say this.
So, what countries have you traveled to
Traveled to or lived in.
or lived in? Oh my goodness, you've lived in 8 countries. My God, girl,
Yes.
adventure.
So yeah, my life began in India. That's where I grew up. Did my education. My first job was there. Then we moved to Brazil. In between, there was some period when we were in Mexico City for a few months. Then Brazil, then Thailand, Russia, China, United States, and now we are in the Netherlands.
Wow, wow, wow. You've been all over, girl. So you got a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
So you did northwest, east, and south.
Yes, I think the Australia and Africa are the only two places we haven't been to.
Is that in the future?
Yes, I'm sure it is. I There's a lot left in life.
So, Neha, what have you learned about yourself as an entrepreneur?
So I think growing up, I never thought of myself as an entrepreneur, but after I came out of my comfort zone when we left India, and I realized that I couldn't really work because not every country has policies for expatriates to work, and it's not easy to find a job or get a working visa in many countries. I realized I had to do something. I'm too restless to just sit still and not do anything. So while traveling around the world, I started small entrepreneurial ventures in different places at different times. And that's when I realized that I had that entrepreneurial streak in me, and I started taking it more seriously. But when I realized that I have an entrepreneurial streak, that's when I realized that it doesn't matter where life takes me or what condition I'm in. I'll always be able to find something, make money for myself, be able to, I don't know, fend for myself, support myself and my family. So that was a big confidence boost that I got from my entrepreneurial ventures, to be honest.
So I read in your bio that you do face painting. So is that like face painting for like parties or events? Like what is that for?
So I used to, when I was in back in India, I was in a corporate job, and
Okay.
I used to love it. But then after a point, I was like, what's next? What's new? And I used to love my company too much to quit it at that point of time. So I picked up some paints and brushes, and on one Sunday evening, I started painting on my friends' faces, and they turned out really nice. I have some background in painting and sketching, so it wasn't too bad. And
Oh,
they all loved it. They were all Spider-Mans and butterflies on their faces, all grown-ups, okay, in my house. But then I thought this could be a thing, and of course, it's already a thing around the world. But then I started doing it in Gurugram, which is a city in north of India. And in my free time, in the evening hours or weekends, I would just go to the larger malls there, set up a table, and start doing it for the kids around there. And slowly, I started getting invited to events and parties because of my interactions with the kids and the paintings, and they actually liked what I was doing. So I started getting popular in those circles. I didn't continue it for a very long time because soon after we moved to Brazil, but I could have made it into a whole business if I wanted to at that point of time.
well, it's always nice to be different, right? I love being different, and it shows in your bio that you've done a lot of different things, you know. And as we see, you're the game changer for professionals. So, how are you the game changer for professionals? What exactly do you do? Yeah.
So, in terms of, there are two, I think, when you read my bio, I remember you saying that, oh, gamification, that's a completely new thing that I've heard. And I
That
was
that was
also
the first time I
very,
heard of that word.
right. So, how I've been able to use gamification is I founded a company called Koji's, and what Koji's did was we took corporate trainings, the boring classroom trainings where it's one instructor who's feeding information to you in form of a PowerPoint. Took that training and repackaged it, made it more social, more interactive, more fun, in forms of missions, something like a treasure hunt. And we used mobile phones to run these games or these training programs for people to learn. But these mobile games were not your couch potato games that people can just sit in one place and play. They were more like Pokemon Go, where you have to go out, hunt,
Okay.
hunt for clues, find out the answers, meet people, and solve the cues that have been left for you. So those were the type of trainings that we designed. We work with some large companies, and that's one part of the gamification or game changing that I've been able to do in my life. Right now, with my book, I'm trying to help people who've taken a break in their careers, primarily women in India who have taken a break because of family reasons or any health reasons, and help them get the confidence and the right resources, the right tools, so they can confidently enter the workspace after having reevaluated what works for them and how best to proceed in their lives.
Oh, I like that. So a little bit about the book, because you just mentioned the book. So the book is called Back on Your Feet.
Yes.
So why that title?
Oh wow, you have no idea, Liz, how many titles we started with. I think my first title was Break ke Baad,
Okay.
which Baad in Hindi, which is one of the the more important languages in India. Baad means after. So the title literally in my mind was After the Break. But when I told it to a few people, they said they thought it felt like a breakup, like a romantic breakup, and
Oh,
not
yeah,
really
yeah.
a career gap or a break in the career. So then I had to let that go. It was very close to my heart, that title. And then none of the titles would match that. I wouldn't like any of them. So we did a lot of back and forth with the publisher, with my friends, my family, my well-wishers who wanted to give their suggestions. And I'm sure we compared at least 25, 30 different titles. And this final title came after I ran a survey with my network on all the social media platforms that I am in. And I gave them three finalists, and this was by far the highest the votes this one got.
Well, I like that you did that. That you gave your social media that option to pick what they would grab.
Oh,
I like
yeah,
the title. I,
absolutely.
I like I like the title, back on your feet, and I like the cover. The cover is really grabbing. Like the colors are really grabbing. So anybody that
Thank you.
wants to grab this book is being launched on March 15th. So if you want, I will be putting a link up once the book launch is official. So if you want to grab a copy, be sure to grab a copy, because you won't want to miss to grab a copy of this book.
And thank you for
I
mentioning the cover, because that's another thing that I asked my network about. Again, I was in two minds. There were three, four beautiful covers that my designer had come up with, and I just couldn't make up my mind. All of them were beautiful. So again, my network came through, and I got what 193 votes, and 76% of the people voted for this cover. So it was a very clear winner, and they also gave me feedback on how I can make the cover even better. So I really owe a lot to my network and the people in my circle.
Well, I like the color because you don't see it very often on a book.
My
It's
favorite color.
it's bright. Also, I was right. You do have yellow. So I have a yellow top on today. I was like, I
Ooh.
think it's yellow. I think it's yellow because of the book cover. I was like, I can't find her favorite color, because I asked all of the guests on Tea Time what their favorite color is. There's a reason for that, because I want to know a little bit more about you personally, because
Mhm.
colors do explain a lot about a person, and that. So yeah. So I was right. So yellow. You see,
Right.
and I love the color of the book, because yellow is a really bright color. It really opens the eye, right? When you
Hmm.
want it brings attention. It just like, look at me, I'm right here, like grab me. So I really really like that, and you did that with the network. You know, and the struggles of writing a book, your first book. It is not an easy job, guys, to write a book. And you know, I've written in a bunch of anthologies, but I haven't written my own book, so I can just imagine what it is to write your own book. you know. So for the viewers and listeners out there, they have, what struggles did you have putting this book together?
All right, so struggles, I'm sure there were many, but I only remember the good part. I always do that
No,
with
do
my
the good.
past.
Good. We
Yes.
don't do bad. We spill good news on tea time.
Yes, absolutely. So I don't think to begin with it was ever a book. It was actually the idea came to me a few years ago, about 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I think. And I was talking to a cousin of mine. I grew up with her, and she's this super talented, such a smart woman. And when I was growing up with her, I always thought that she was destined for something huge. She was just amazing. I was so impressed with her. Then some 5 6 years back, when I got in touch with her because I needed some help with my business, and she had taken a break for her kid, and she had been on a break for some years by that time. So I asked her if she'd be able to help me out because I knew she was awesome, and her talents would really put a lot of energy into my business. But then she said no when I asked her, and I completely understand if she was not interested in the work. I can always take no for an answer. But the
Yeah.
reason she gave me that actually broke my heart. She said she did not feel like she could do the work anymore, like she had the talent, or she didn't have the confidence to go talk to outsiders or present to clients or even design something which she's really really skilled at. And I just couldn't believe it. I was like, how can this 5 year break after having a kid kill your self-confidence? I didn't say that to her, but I remember thinking about it, and that just kept playing at the back of my mind. And then I realized it wasn't just her. I had gone through the same phase when I had had my kid and I had to take a break. Then I started talking about this with other friends, and I realized there were so many people in my network, just my close friends and close relatives, who had never talked about this lack of confidence or lack of self-esteem after you take a break. And I kept thinking about it. I started coaching women on the side who had taken a break, needed support, some resources, or just somebody to bounce their ideas off of so they could prepare for the next interview. But those were small things I was doing. Then, obviously, the pandemic hit. I think many books would come out of this pandemic, but and mine did too. So, due to the pandemic, I had to take a break of a couple of months from my work, and I just started writing one day, and I didn't know what I was writing. I thought maybe it's an article, maybe it's, I don't know, a post for LinkedIn one day. But I just kept writing and writing, and slowly I realized that it was going to be a book. So I started researching honestly, and then I reached out to people who had taken breaks. I started talking to them, interviewing them, and getting more data to support what I was writing. So this led one thing led to the other, and those 2 months of forced work break was when I actually got the first draft out. So I was writing for 5 6 hours straight every day. I threw myself into it, and in those 2 months, the first draft was ready. It was horrible. If I go back and read it, I was like, what the hell did I write? But I had to go back. I had to get all my ideas onto the paper once, and then I was able to go back, edit it, improve the language, add some examples, make the flow better. I did all that. But in those 2 months, at least the ideas were out there. So I knew that it was taking shape and I had started something big.
So it only took you 2 months to write a book?
First draft, Liz. First draft. The
Wow.
final book is nothing like the first draft. I've heard some other authors call the first draft a vomit draft because that is how bad it's supposed to be, but it's supposed to be out there so you can then start improving it.
Oh my God, girl. 2 months. 2 months. It takes me like 2 months to write a chapter.
I didn't censor myself. I didn't edit myself. I just kept writing, 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 writing. Whatever came to my mind on that topic, I just wrote it down. And I'm a big believer of the saying they say, right? Don't self reject. I
Yeah.
also remind the readers of my book about that. Don't self reject. If there are enough people in the world who are going to reject you, who will not like your ideas,
Yeah.
they'll say no to your ideas, they'll give feedback on how you can be better, how you're not good enough. But
Yeah.
you should be your biggest supporter, your biggest fan. If you don't believe in yourself, you never get anything out there.
Exactly. And I say this all the time on Tea Time, right? And we're going to get judged whether we do good, whether we do bad. We're going to get judged. So we might as well just enjoy life and do what
True, so
we
true.
enjoy, you know? A lot of people are like, Miss Liz, you're really going to serve tea? Yeah, I'm going to serve tea because I like tea. Tea's my
Hmm.
thing, you know? So, and writing is your thing and the game changer. I do want to get back into the game because I'm a little curious, and I know some viewers out there and listeners are curious as well. This Pokemon Go, do you actually go and look for like a little creature? Like, how does this work?
All right. So Pokemon Go is not my game. It's just an example that I gave
Oh,
you.
okay.
But
Okay.
yeah, yeah. No, so my app was more about for corporate learning. So instead
Okay.
of teaching people something in the classroom, for example, if I'm giving a presentation about Miss Liz tea time,
Okay.
what I can do is bring 30 people into the classroom, show them a huge slide with your picture on it and the name of your podcast and everything, and just tell them. Feed them the information saying, okay, this is Miss Liz's tea time and her name is Elizabeth. This is what she looks like. This is what she's done. Now, this wouldn't, okay, you've given all the information, but how much get absorbed? There's always a
Okay.
question mark. People don't really remember information that's fed to them, but they always remember things that they find out when they explore something, when they are
Oh, okay.
challenged and they have to. So instead of bringing them to a classroom, my app would send them a challenge. A notification would come on your phone and say, oh, you know what? There's this new podcast called Miss Liz Tea Time. It's your job to find out who the host of the show is. And if you can get a selfie with her, you get 500 bonus points. If you can't find her, but find a look-alike of Miss Liz and get a selfie with her, then you get 300 bonus points. And this information is easily available, right? People can just
Yeah.
Google who Miss Liz is and what she looks like. And once you challenge them, then that information is more sticky. Then they'll remember what your name was, what you looked like. And just to get those points, when you put people in a game, even if you make them do mundane things, it'll be fun. Like Mary Poppins did, right? She made the
Yeah.
kids clean up the whole room just by singing about it and making it like a game. So yeah, just introducing a game element into many of our lives things can make it fun and help us move along.
So it's almost like a scavenger hunt.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I like that. I like that. That's different. I like it. And it is true because we have so much information coming in all the time that, you know, when we just read or you just talk, you know, just dialogue, sometimes people are not taking it in. You know, they're taking one or
Correct.
two words in, but then when the webinar is done or the conference is done, they're just like, what did I learn? What did I do? You know, but when you put adventure into it, you know, like
Hmm.
a scavenger hunt, of course you're going to remember who it is. I'd be really curious if there is a lookalike like Miss Liz out there. So if anybody can find a look
Sure, there are.
like Miss Liz, I would like you to send me a picture and let's see if it actually is out there. And you know, who knows? Maybe we'll create a game in the future for Miss Liz. Like,
Yes, I
you
think you
know,
should make that a challenge for your listeners and ask them to send you selfies with your doppelganger.
yeah, exactly. Right. I never even thought of doing something like that. That is, and this is what I mean. This is why I have you here, Neha. You're the game changer. You know, you just changed the game for Miss Liz. You just, you know, put it out there.
You're
But
too
a little
kind.
bit more about what you do. What was your favorite country that you lived in?
Oh, Brazil, hands down.
Brazil?
We loved living there, and the place is beautiful, the natural beauty, of course, but the people are incredibly nice. So,
Yeah,
of
I've
course,
heard
that
a
place
lot.
was more special. Sorry?
I've heard a lot about Brazil. It's really
Yeah.
colorful, really friendly, really out
Yes.
there. Mhm.
It holds a special place in my heart too because my daughter was born there.
Oh,
So,
so she's a little Brazilian baby.
oh yeah, she goes out telling people that she's a Brazilian, but her parents are Indian. So they always wonder what the deal is there.
She's got a little adventure herself. She's got
Oh
her own
yes.
little story coming up there.
Yeah.
So we do have some questions that are coming in. They're not coming into the studio, but they're coming in on the phone here. Um,
Mhm.
so, what was your biggest challenge? Wait, what was your biggest challenge in traveling so often? I'm guessing that what they mean is the transformation of all the moves. So,
Yeah.
what was your biggest challenge for all of the different moves?
That's a good question because I always wonder about that. People think that after having moved so many countries, it's easy to just uproot and then start afresh in a completely new place. But it comes with its own challenges. There's no social network, you don't have any people that you can fall back on. But the biggest challenge I personally have is getting vegetarian food. So
Oh,
I'm a vegetarian, and in most of these countries that I've lived in, it's English is not their primary language, even secondary language in many of these places. So
oh.
on first few days, I've always struggled to get the food that I want. So after a couple of countries, I realized, okay, this is going to be a perpetual challenge for me. So what I do is the minute I land and check into the hotel, I go to the reception. Receptionists always speak English in many of these big cities, in all of these countries, and ask them to write down for me on a piece of paper, I am a vegetarian. Do you have any options? And I make them write it for me in the local language and also in English, so I can say it out if they don't want to read it. But I take that paper with me. That paper is my constant companion for the next few weeks till I can get some basics in that language, so I can ask for food at least.
So, and another question we have here is, what 8 languages do you speak?
All right. So I speak Hindi, which is the Indian language. Then I speak Marathi, which is my mother tongue.
Okay.
I speak Portuguese fairly well. I at one point I was able to give presentations in Portuguese while I was there. I did my MBA there, so
Oh, wow.
I had to learn the language. Then I speak Russian, basic Russian, basic Mandarin. I think I've forgotten the tones though. Mandarin, no, Mandarin, actually, or many of the Asian languages, they of course depend on the vocabulary, but how you
Okay.
say those words will also make a difference. So simple thing like ma can I just said it neutrally, but can mean a mother or a horse depending on how you say it. And I
Oh,
always goofed it up. I still do. So yeah. So making a mistake is very difficult. It is very easy in Mandarin. So I speak very basic Mandarin. Then I'm learning some Dutch, and I learned German growing up. Did I? Oh, English. Yes, I speak English too.
I was gonna say, I hope you speak English when we're speaking
Yeah.
English now.
You know how when you're counting how many people are at the table, you always forget to count yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
that's what
You
happens
you
to me.
you
I,
forget what
I forget.
you're already doing, like whatever's on the
Yeah.
table. Yeah, okay, you ate, you ate, you ate. Oh yeah, okay. Oh yeah, that's right. I eat too. Uh, so a little bit more on your background. Why the adventure? Like, why to travel? Like, was it always something you wanted as a little girl to travel a lot, or was it just something you grew into? Uh, why travel so much, and why move so much? Like, was it for work purposes, or was it just personal adventure?
I'll answer both your questions. So I don't when I was born, I don't think I had a lot of choice in terms of whether I wanted to travel. My parents loved traveling,
Okay.
and we used to go on trips every year. Every weekend we were out, and we used to go on long trips with friends and family. And our parents would always involve us in those were the time of no internet, right? So my dad would get this big paper map of the place that we were going to. Then we'll sit down, look at the roads, and create a route of how we'll travel, what places we'll see, then get travel books and make a list of all the places to see. So I grew up thinking, okay, traveling is a part of life. And after I did my schooling, I started moving for my first for my graduation to one city, then post graduation to another city. First job was in a third city. Second job was in fourth city. Got married, fifth city. So I was traveling across India all this while. I had not thought of traveling internationally back then, but after I got married, 3 years down the line, my husband got an opportunity to move to Brazil, and we didn't know anything about Brazil. Okay, I sometimes cringe at how little we knew about the world. But back then, Brazil was what? Oh, beaches, football, and samba. We're like, okay, we are sold. We are going to Brazil. We didn't think too much. So we just took the plunge, went there, and after that we haven't stopped. His company has been offering him positions in different places, and we always say yes. We don't think too much. We figure it out after we get there. And
Yeah.
our daughter has also been very flexible about it, and she really continues to surprise us. I think she's more flexible than we are. And yeah, every time there's been an opportunity, we say yes and we move. I've been able to continue my career through these moves and ups and downs. So life goes on, and we are happy that we've traveled so much.
Well, I think that's why you're the game changer, right? Because you can adapt to changes really well, And it's like you
Oh,
said,
you don't think too much before saying yes.
right? You just do it, and then you're like, oh, what did I just say yes to?
Yeah.
But you have that adventure, you have that story, you know. For the viewers and listeners out there that will watch the replay and are watching now, sometimes we just got to be adventurous. We just got to say, you know what? I'm just going to jump. I'm just going to give it a try. I'm going to go, and this is why Neha. Like, I think this is why you're the game changer, because you just do it. Like, you just go at it, and you give it a try. And if you fail, you fail. If there's a new place. Uh, and we need to do that in life. We need to just sometimes say, you know what, I'm just going to change the game, you know. And when I seen the word gamification, when I checked your website out, I was like, I've never heard of that word before. I had to go and Google it. Yes, Miss Liz uses Google quite a bit when I don't see things or new things. I check it
I
out.
don't know
So
what I'd do without Google either. I think
it's a lifesaver.
parenting is so much easier. Yes.
It is, right? And we need Google sometimes, Sometimes we see things or we hear things or we want to do some research, in order to
Hmm.
find something. So yeah, and when I seen gamifications on your website, I was like, what? That's a new word. I kind of like that word. Let's see where we can go with this. Let's change the game. And that's what Miss Liz does. I changed the game as well. After I seen that word and I knew what that word meant, I was like, oh, you know what? Yep. I'm a change maker. I'm a game changer. That's what it is all about. So I want
Cheers to
to,
that.
right. Cheers. Let's have
Yeah.
some good old tea here. Like we're
I
having good
love.
tea time here. You know,
There
I,
should be a cheer for tea as well, right? Cheer
yeah,
sounds too alcoholic.
yeah. I don't know. I spill the tea.
Let's not. My laptop and yours.
For all the viewers that are out there, spill the tea is actually means good news. A lot of people
Oh,
think it's
okay.
gossip, but in 1952, spill the tea and spill the beans meant good news in the neighborhood. So that's what Miss Liz says: is I bring good news and I bring good guests to the table and
Look at you,
adventure.
Miss Liz, always teaching people something new.
Right? I open the brain at 10 o'clock in the morning in Canada, and 5 p.m. in the Netherlands. That's what I do is I just open the doors and I spill. I make a mess. There's a mess in aisle 3. Somebody go clean it up because, but that's what I
But
do.
like I said, I mean, it's like the vomit draft, right?
Yeah.
Once you have that mess out there, then you can start cleaning it up and you can make sense of the chaos. But
Well,
it's
that's it,
got to be
right?
out there first. Yes.
Yeah. It has to be out there because if it's not out there, you can't fix it. You can't
Yeah.
change it. So a little bit more about you, Neha. I want to get back onto the book. So I want to know, where did you get the ideal to write back on your feet?
So I told you about my cousin, right? So
Yep.
her story stayed with me, and after I counseled some other women on their career breaks and helped them see how they could take the next step, I also saw that there were lots of systemic biases in the companies. Companies were asking questions like why did you take a break, or do you plan to have another child if the break was because of childbirth. I just found this whole scene very disturbing. But then I realized there's not much we can do about the societal expectations or what the companies were doing or saying. I slowly realized that there were people out there who were also supporters of people who wanted to come back after break. In fact, I remember when I had just started my company. I went to this one of the Fortune top 100 companies in India for a presentation, and I just couldn't find anybody to babysit my kid. So I was standing there outside the main gate of the company, still wondering what I should do, trying to call all my friends locally to see if anybody could just be with her for like half an hour, so I could go and present. And I met the HR head there, and she was like, "Why? Can we proceed? Can we go for the presentation?" And I was like, "You know what? Can we wait for 5 more minutes? I'm expecting maybe this friend will call and pick her up." And she's like, "Why don't you just bring your daughter in? Why? What's she going to do in the conference room? She'll just sit in a place. Maybe she'll run around a little, but what's the worst that she'll
Yeah.
do?" It's like, right, what's the worst that she's going to do in a conference room, right? So there are people like this out there who are supporting women after a break or people after a career break. And
Yeah.
I thought it can be done if the person who has taken a break takes that first step, can bring their confidence level up to a level where they can go out, start meeting people, exploring what's out there. Because sometimes when you take a break, things change drastically, and you think completely out of depth because your field has completely transformed. So at least get that confidence level up for people so they think they can still do it, for them to explore what's out there, engage with other people in the field, and then start working towards what their career goal is. So when I realized that this could be a personal journey, I'm not going to change the whole society or government policies or people's deep-seated prejudices, right? I can't change that overnight. But what I can change is help people change their mindset, take
Yep.
that first step, work towards their goals. And that's where the book came about, I guess.
And back again for the viewers that are just tuning in now, and the viewers that will watch the replay. Back on Your Feet will be launched March 15th, and the link will be put onto Miss Liz's Tea Time pages as well. Neha is going to send me the link so you can grab yourself a copy of that incredible book and get back on your feet too, and see what adventures you
Woohoo!
do. And let's make this a number 1 bestseller, because I
Yes.
think it's really incredible. And like I said, check out Miss Liz's Tea Time page. Check out Nehav's pages. All of her information is on my page. You can reach out to her. As she's been talking, I've been putting up where you can find her as well. For the ones that will be listening to the audio on the audio devices, all the information will be in the description box, so you can reach out to her that way as well. She's on Instagram, she's on Facebook, she's on LinkedIn, and check out her website. You might just want to get her as a speaking guest, because my God, Neha, like, you got adventure, girl. Like,
Thank
so
you,
I
Liz.
would like to know, what is the craziest thing you've ever done?
Oh, wow. Personally, professionally.
Both. Let's go with both.
All right. Since we are talking about careers and taking a break and such things, I remember when we had just moved to Mexico. We had been there for a few months, and I didn't. I'm like I said, I'm a very restless soul. I didn't know what to do, so I was sitting in the hotel room, not knowing what to do, and I just decided to take a stroll. I went for a walk in the neighborhood, and I saw the what is it called? Hard Rock Cafe. Sorry, I just
Okay.
yeah, Hard Rock Cafe in Mexico City. And I strolled in there, ordered myself a drink, and something struck me. I asked if the manager was in there, and they were like, "Yeah, he is." So they called the manager, and I started talking to him. He was the general manager of the whole unit, and he was very sweet. We were talking, and he saw the henna tattoo on my hand. It's not a tattoo, the henna design on my hand. And I'm a big fan of henna, or mehendi as we call it. And before leaving India, I had taught myself that art because I knew I couldn't live without it. So I taught myself, and I would make it in my spare time. So he saw that, and he was very fascinated. He was like, "What is this?" And I told him about it. And he was like, "So it's not permanent? Can you make it yourself? Do you do it with a pen?" And I was like, "I'm not going to answer all those questions." So I said, "Wait a minute." I ran back to my hotel, got a henna cone that I had lying around, and brought it back to him, asked him if I could make small design for him. And he said, "Sure." And I made a beautiful peacock for him on his hand.
Oh,
And he was floored. He was so enamored with the design. He just couldn't believe the thing that I had made in 10 minutes. And he said, "Would you like to do it for my guests in Hard Rock Cafe?" And I said, "Why not?" I was sitting there doing nothing, getting bored, and here he was, the general manager of Hard Rock Cafe in the city, asking me if I wanted work. And I said, "Sure, please bring me on board." So I within 10 minutes, we were in the Hard Rock Cafe merchandise store, and he was asking me which T-shirt I would like to buy, not buy, to wear. Then I was working in the cafe, and that's how I started. I started going there, making mehendi for their guests there, and I had such a great time. Of course, I was getting free food and drink, but that's besides the point. I was really having fun
free food and
and
drink is
making,
good too.
yes, and having a very, very good time. It was my first crazy adventure, I think.
Mhm. Okay, Neha, your favorite color is yellow. Could you tell
Mm-hmm.
the viewers and guests why yellow?
Oh, you're making me introspect, Liz. I like that. I
No.
hope I can come up with a smart answer to that. I don't. I always have liked yellow color. It just fascinates me, and I'm a morning person. I wake up in the morning. I like to look at the sun, not 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 think about life or all the problems in life. And I don't. I wish I could say I meditate and do yoga in the morning. I wish I'm still not there yet. Spiritually, I guess. But yeah, mornings always speak to me, and I love the color of the sun and mangoes, my favorite fruit. So
Oh, well, there
I
you
guess
go.
that's
See?
why.
So maybe that's why. And yellow is the color of your book. So it
Mm-hmm.
explains a lot about you as well. So you put your favorite color into the book, you know? So the one word that you gave me when I asked you what your one word was that to describe you as a person, you gave me the word persistent. Why did you
Mm-hmm.
give me that word for?
Persistent, because that's what my life has been, I guess. I have persisted no matter where we are in life, no matter what life threw at me, all the hardships, all the problems. I've persisted. I've kept going through my career, through my life. I think like I said, when we moved to Brazil, we didn't think too much. We thought football, samba, beach, let's go.
Let's go party.
Yeah, yeah. But then within a few months, I realized what a big mistake it was when I realized Brazil was not going to allow me to work there professionally. And I remember sitting in a hotel room when my husband was in the office and just breaking down. I cried for an hour or something. I just didn't know why I had taken that decision and what was I thinking when I took that step. There was, because of the time zones, there was nobody I could call back home or my friends. There was no social network there. I couldn't even step outside my hotel room and go to the nearest restaurant or on the street to talk to anybody because I didn't speak any Portuguese back then. So yeah, that was a challenging time, but got through it.
Yeah.
So that's why persistence. I've persisted no matter what has happened in life, and
Well, I
I
see
think
you as
it's
a
been,
persistent person. Like you know, you're that game changer, but you're persistent. Like, like I'm
yeah.
gonna do this. I'm gonna try it. I'm
Hmm.
gonna be persistent and I'm gonna get over there and let's just push through it, So
Right.
I see that in you, you
Well,
know.
you know what they say: one person's persistent is another person's pain in the neck. So I don't know what people think of me. I think of myself as persistent.
Well, I like it. I think you are a persistent person, and it describes who you are. So now let's get into your tea. Since we're
Mhm.
drinking tea, we're
Oh yes,
having
let me
tea
bring my
together.
tea in.
We're gonna spill some tea now. So what
Mhm.
is your tea? So if I gave you the word TEA, what words would you give me?
Right. You asked me that question, and it really made me think. So when I connected it to my book and what I had written in it and what I was suggesting people to do, I realized my T stood for think, engage, act. So my book has four sections. They stand for why, Kai. Kai means what in my mother tongue. Try and fly. So what I suggest people to do is to think first. Think about what they would like to do, what they're good at, what are their strengths, what are their values, and what do they see around them? How have things changed around them? So figure out this think part first. Then E of your T. E is engage. Don't think that you know everything. Talk to people. Talk to your friends, your family, strangers, influencers on social media, people who have courses on all these different online universities and platforms. Talk to people out there. Read a little more, engage with what's out there to figure out what life can be if you make a career change or if you continue in the same line of work that you were previously. So engage with that field, the people in there, to make a better decision. And then third, of course, is to act. That all this is completely wasted if you don't act on what you found and the connections that you've made, right? So that's why the T stands for think, engage, and act, which is the theme of my book. I can say.
And that goes with your life too, because you had to think, you had to travel, you had to engage in different countries, and
Hmm.
action. You took the action to move. Like it really explains who you are too as an individual, Neha. Like we sometimes overthink our teas. We overthink our lives and what we do. And I like that you said the word engage, because we do need engagement, and we do not need to think that we know everything. We
No,
have
we
to ask.
can't.
No, you're not growing if you think you know everything. You're actually staying stuck in your own ego. And that's not good. That's not healthy. I really like your tea. Your tea is a good strong tea. We're spilling good tea here this morning on Tea
Yay!
Time. So any words that you would like to get out there, anything that I haven't brought up, or any questions that haven't come in that you would like to share with us today?
Um, I think there's one word specifically. I think the first time you asked me, "What's your T?" and I said, "Oh, possibility for sure," because possible TEA is how I heard it, and I thought, "Oh yeah, that's always there." I mean, always think of the possibilities that lie out there, and no matter where you are, professionally, personally, even when you're out there buying stuff, or you're at home negotiating with your kid for less TV time. Depends on where you are, but there's always a possibility. There are always options. You just need to explore them.
Oh, I like that you said
That's
that possibility. Possibility tea.
tea.
You could possibly try a cup of tea. If you're not a tea drinker, you could possibly try.
Oh yeah, there's so many things out there, right?
Yeah.
In terms of teas, coffee. Okay, no offense to coffee drinker. I love coffee myself,
We're
but
not.
but coffee is one drink. Okay, you can have only so many varieties. You can either change the strength of the coffee or some flavor or the origin. But
Yeah.
with tea, it can be black tea, green tea, red tea, fruit tea, turmeric tea, herbal tea. You think of anything edible, and there's a tea around it. You have chocolate tea, for God's sake. You have every type of tea imaginable. So yeah, possibility.
Yeah, well, possibility tea, right? And you can even have a Long Island iced tea. You can have a beverage. You could have iced tea. You
Yes.
could. There's so many different things you can do with tea, and this is why we do and we speak tea, because tea is so easy to relate to. No
Yeah.
matter
So
what age
versatile.
you are, you can enjoy tea. You can enjoy an iced tea. You can enjoy a cup of cold tea. You can have a cup of tea with your grandma or your mom or with friends. It's a time of gathering. It's a time of opening that door and expressing and spilling tea, spilling the good news,
Right.
and Neha, you've done that. Like, you've really brightened up my morning. Like, I'm not a morning person, and I'm like, oh my God, I could do tea with her all day.
I'm glad I did. I think it's thanks to my yellow tea I got here today, because this is a turmeric tea that I'm drinking,
Oh,
and I
turmeric tea
love
is
to
one of
pair
my
it.
favorites. Like,
Mhm.
turmeric tea, when I first started drinking turmeric, I was like, that's a different kind of flavor. But
Mhm.
as I drank it more and more, I really like the flavor. I like turmeric with zinc and
Oh,
and,
never
and
tried that.
orange. And
Okay.
add a little bit of squeezed orange. Oh my goodness, yeah, really good. And then butter tea. Put a teaspoon of butter in your tea. Oh my goodness.
Oh,
Black tea. It has to be black tea if you're putting butter. There's so many different things. And you can use your tea to make muffins and cookies and stuff like that. Like, once you have your tea,
you're a
take.
true tea fan.
Oh yes, I am. I live tea, I breathe tea. I am tea. But this is what we do, right? And we bring the fun back into it, and we educate through it. We open the minds, and we just say, you know what, spill it. Just spill it. If you make a mess, you make a mess. You know, I make a mess all the time. Like I said, somebody still has to clean up aisle 3 over there. Like, so I want to, before we wrap up your tea time, I want
Mhm.
to know what it is that brings you that spark in life besides tea, because I know tea does. But what is it about life that really gets you moving, like gets you going?
I would have to say my childhood. I had a wonderful childhood growing up back in India, and my parents. I'm not exaggerating. They're the best parents in the world. I sometimes fight with my daughter to say who has better parents. I do. Trust me. I have. They are amazing. They brought us up to be really independent. They respected our decisions. We got a lot of love, a lot of affection, a lot of physical affection. We hugged and kissed, and we stayed close to each other. So that has a big impact on how positive I feel. And now, of course, my daughter, she brings a lot of joy to my life. And yeah, it just makes me look forward to what's next in life, what more I can do. And I've never been a settler. I never just sit down and think, okay, this is it, I don't want to do anything more. I'm happy with my job. So maybe, like I said, I'm restless. I want to do something more, something bigger than myself, something that is hard to achieve, something that is challenging. And the book is a perfect example of that. Till last year, if you would ask me, actually 2 years back, you'd ask me if I'll ever write a book, I would have blatantly said no. I wouldn't even have thought twice about it. I never thought I would be writing a book. But the thought just came to me one day while writing, and I was like, why not? Well, who's stopping me from writing a book?
Right.
So I just kept writing, and it turned into a book, I guess. And it's getting up some. I have some advanced reader who've been reading it, and I've been getting good feedback. So I'm really positive about it.
Well, that's good when we're getting good feedback, right? And feedback
Yes.
is needed for us to grow as well, you know.
Oh,
Uh,
yes.
and not everyone will say, oh, that was good. There'll be somebody that'll say, well, you could have did a little bit more on this chapter. You could have said this
Oh,
way.
yeah, yeah.
There's, but it helps us because it opens up our mind as well. Okay, maybe the next book I can do it this way.
Right.
If somebody tells us that we're doing it all good, then we're doing something
Mhm.
not right.
No, they're lying. Seriously.
Yeah,
If somebody
yeah,
says we're doing all good or we're perfect, they're definitely lying. And like I
yeah.
said, the first book was the first draft of the book was terrible. Like it was a vomit draft. If I read it now, I cringe. But then thanks to my editors who kept coming back to me saying, Neha, there's no flow here. Can you add an example? There's disconnection here. Can you explain it a little bit more? Can you walk the reader through what you're thinking? Because it might be clear in your brain, but it's not there for the reader. So getting all that feedback and writing and rewriting and editing bits and pieces of the book really made it what it is now.
Well, and we need those people, right? We need those editors because I was the same way when I wrote a vomit drop. Like, you don't think of the grammar, you don't think of the way it's worded, you just want it out, right?
Hmm.
And it is a journey. It truly is a journey. It's an adventure to write a book. So I encourage anyone who out there wants to write a book, give it a try. You don't know unless you try, right?
Right.
And like Neha, I'm really excited for you and congratulations on your first book. It really means a
Thank you
lot
so
to
much.
see that you've gotten out of your comfort zone, you changed the plan and you've got a good title. Like, and you reached out, you engaged with your social media people and got that feedback. I don't see that happening a lot with people that are doing books. They're just writing books because they can write a book, but you're getting the
And not just
feedback.
after writing the book, even while writing the book, of course, a part of that has been written by me
Yeah.
completely. But then I interviewed at least 35 odd people when I was researching for the book. And
Oh,
13 of those interviews or my talks with these people have made it to the book. Their stories have made it to the book. So getting to hear their stories, their struggles, their challenges, their successes, their wins was also a big part of writing that book. And the book is part of it is inspirational stories from all these people who've reached out in their careers, and part of it is like a playbook where you can write down your own priorities, what works for you, what's your life situation, and then make a action plan based on what is best for your family, your life. So that kind of feedback was also very important, hearing from other career restarters.
Oh, well, I didn't know that you had put other people's stories in there. That's different too. So there's this book has already grabbed my attention because I love reading people's stories. That's just what I'd like to do. I get a joy out of seeing people overcoming stuff. It's like a big abundance for me. So,
Oh
and
yeah, we're
that's,
all sucker for stories, right?
yeah, we all have a story. We all have done something crazy. We've all done something. Oh, we should never did that. Oh, don't do that again. And then we do it again. And then we're just like, hard head, stubborn. But
Yeah.
yeah, we really do take a journey. And I love the title, Back on Your Feet. Get
And
back
by
on
the
your
way,
feet.
this book, Back on Your Feet, this book has been written from an Indian perspective because that's where I grew up in. And most of my friends growing up were from India, and those are the people that I was able to interview, talk to, and understand they have similar struggles. But I realized many of these challenges, many of these ideas or possibilities are quite universal, and can really help people anywhere in the world who've taken a break. So I would really love to get people's feedback when they read it, see how they have been able to implement things from the book into their lives. And first, I was a little iffy about it. I was like, okay, this is very Indian. What should I make it more global since I've lived in so many countries? Should I change the examples or uh, terminologies a bit? And then I realized I grew up watching a lot of American sitcom, and I never complained that those things were too American, right? So I thought, why not? People need an Indian perspective too, to understand what struggles there are, the kind of challenges that people face, and the stories of successes that come out of it.
No, and this is what we need. We need successful stories out there. There's so much heaviness in the world. We need the happiness. We need the good stuff out in the world. Just quickly checking any further comments. If you have any comments or any questions or anything like that, just leave them in the box, and I will get them to Neha. And if you have any personal questions, you can reach her. She's on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And any final words before we wrap up your tea time, and then I will introduce the next guest that's coming up next week for an incredible tea time.
All right. So if I had to have some last words, they'd be the one rule that I've put in front of the learners, the readers of my book. I tell them to not self-reject, no matter what they do. If they're reading the book, one rule they have to follow is don't self-reject. And that's the one thought that I would like to leave people with. Don't reject yourself. There are enough people to do that. You love yourself. You support yourself. You be your biggest cheerleader.
Well, thank you so much, Neha, for joining me today and having tea and spilling tea and just having a good old time this morning. Like, it is morning here, it is evening there, like dinner time
Yes.
there in the Netherlands. And
It's always
enjoy
a good
your
time
day.
for a tea.
Yeah, exactly, right? It really was a good time. And you showed me a lot. And for the viewers and listeners out there, leave your comments. And if you're watching a replay, push #replay and let me know what you think of the guests that are coming on Tea Time. And look, we're going to do that challenge. We're going to see if there's a look-alike of Miss Liz and send me your images. And I'd be curious on what you guys think I look like and what kind of images come my way. So, and
I'll be following that too.
exactly right. No, let's change this game. Let's do a real good game changer here. So my next guest will be March 9th. It'll be Nancy Nance. It is going to be a co-author of Sacred Hearts Rising coming in, and she will be speaking on trauma and recovery and all of that good stuff. She's a coach and a healer. Really, really soft spoken, but the soft spoken, don't let it fool you. She's got a big heart. This woman is amazing. So she'll be joining me March 9th at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Then we have on March 14th, we have a local service that will be joining us. And it is for mental health and addiction services. And they are local in Cornwall. So I will be doing a local tea time. So their tea time is a little different. So, and that one will be done in the evening at 7 p.m. And we will have 3 guests. So we will have the vice chair, and the treasurer joining us for that tea time. Then we will have on the 24th, we have Lisa Carmichael coming in, and she's going to be sharing her personal overcoming and growth as well. Then we have Brave Up, a man from Chile that will be joining us. He is in the United States right now, but he is from Chile, so we will be bringing him in. And he has a program called Brave Up to detect bullying in the school systems, and that through some questionnaires that are given to the students and all that, without them coming out and saying that they're actually being bullied. So then they can go in and work with the services. So we have an incredible lineup this month in March. And April's guest will be released on March 20th. So look out for that. And again, Neha, continue the journey and get back on your feet, girl. Like March
Yes,
15th.
thank you so much for having me. It was so much fun, and the whole lineup sounds exciting. I'll be
Yeah.
following it with great interest, Liz. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, thank you. And thank you to all the viewers who have tuned in today and who are watching the replay. And for all of the questions that came in, thank you. I appreciate you. And we will see you March 9th at 3 p.m. with a new tea time. And we will spill more tea. Thank you and have a good day.